Hey everybody, Justin, this is my 97 Wrangler, which I'm actually parting out so I can do my 5.2 instead of my 2.5. Today I'm going to be removing the transmission. I don't know how far I'll actually get, but I'll show you where we're going to start. First I'm going to remove the slave cylinder. Okay, there's a bolt, a nut on the bottom, and then on the top there's a nut. Sometimes it comes out as a stud. Don't be shocked if it does. We'll remove the slave cylinder and we'll just pull this little metal tab out so the line comes out. We'll do that. I'll disconnect the four-wheel drive linkage, which is right there. Then I will be loosening the bell housing bolts, which are the larger bolts, all the way around the transmission. Disconnecting any sensors or wires I see, and then we'll be removing the skid so the transmission can come out. I'll be back in a minute after I do some work. Okay guys, update. I removed the drive shaft from the front and the rear. With the front, they're all four bolts at the front of the drive shaft and at the rear of the front drive shaft are 5/16. I recommend doing the back first because those can be kind of tight. That'll keep it from rotating, save you a little bit of headache. And with the rear, I don't even know what the stock rears are. I swapped to 8.8 a while ago, so disconnect your rear drive shaft, whatever you have, slip yoke eliminator, shaft, or whatever. Disconnected the slave. It's a 1/2-inch socket to disconnect those. I'm going to go ahead and start disconnecting some wires in the four-wheel drive linkage, and I'll be back in a little bit. Alright, I went ahead and disconnected all the sensors and the breather hose for the transfer case because I'm going to be dropping the transmission with the transfer case. Like, it's going to be a pain in the dick if you try to separate it. For the linkage, all I did was disconnect the bottom nut. Hang on a second. There's this bracket here. I disconnected the nut off the bottom, taking me a little wiggle room. And all I did was pry the linkage up out of the hole, so whenever I do drop it, it won't stay connected. I still need to disconnect the lower part of the arm, but this will free me up from the top. So next I'm going to disconnect the crank position sensor, which is on your driver's side bell housing at the top, and then disconnect that four-wheel drive linkage arm, and I'll start doing the bell housing bolts. Alright guys, went ahead and removed all 6 bell housing bolts. One thing I love about Jeep is most of the bolts are the same size. In this case, all of the bell housing bolts are 18s. And none of them are really that hard to get to. Just 3 on each side. And then I went ahead and disconnected the transmission mount, which are right there under the center of the skid. 4 1/2-inch bolts, we'll get those. And now I'm going to go ahead and drain the oil of this transmission before the buyer comes and picks it up. It's just this drain plug right here. I don't even know what size it is. It's pretty big though. I'll let you know in a minute. So I went ahead and drained the fluid. It is a, I forgot 13/16 or 15/16. I think it's 15/16. But I went ahead and do that, and the tip is if you put a piece of cardboard right here, and this paper's stuck, no fluid will run backwards like this little bit did here, but it'll run down into the pan instead of back into the case. So I went ahead and cracked loose all 6 of these, which are 19s. Broke all 19s loose. I'm going to go ahead and support the transmission right here with a jack so I can pull this pan off and then slowly let the transmission down and pull it out of the engine. Alright. Transfer skid is dropped. Got all 6 of those 19s. As you can tell, mine's are dirty. These things love to scoop up mud, but I have it supported by the jack. I'm gonna see if I can't figure out a way to support the transmission and transfer case just enough so I can get it out and lower it down. But that's the only difficult part in that one person transmission removal, but I'm sure I'll get it done. Wish me luck. As of right now, got a transfer case supported by the jack. We have a spare tire and then a tarp for a little bit of cushion. And as you can see, it's almost out. I just want to show you this one step before it comes falling out. One thing I did run into is that on the top there is a additional 18mm bolt on the bell housing that I missed. So there's 7 18mm that connect the transmission to engine. So I'm gonna do the last bit of prying and see how this thing falls out. Alright guys, I'm about done for the night. Got the transmission transfer case out. I had it sitting on that tire under there, but you can't see. I had it sitting on there with that tarp as a cushion, and also so I could slide it off the tire to drop it lower so it fit underneath the Jeep to slide it out. So I slid it out on the tarp with the help of my jack. I lifted it up and I put it on my creeper with some wood. I'm going to take it outside and clean it for the gentleman that's going to buy it. But that's it for the night. It's not too bad. Fell out pretty easy after everything was loose. Well, see how next time we're going to pull the engine. The next time we see each other, I'm sure. Have a good night.